Welcome to D&D.
Not that D&D.
I'm Eller the Disciple.
I'm Tally the Dissenter.
And today we're going to talk to you about resolutions, because New Year's is coming.
No.
Who loves resolutions? Actually, this is one of those things that we happen to agree on. So,
it is the most fatphobic time of the year. It is wonderful. Dead culture aplenty, and God, I can't deal with it.
I don't believe in diets. It's a 4-letter word.
Yeah, and they don't work. It's a billion-dollar industry to keep you fat. Not that there's anything wrong with being fat.
There was a time where being fat was very much considered a beautiful and wealthy thing.
Yeah, and then the explorers found Africa and decided that another way from them to celebrate or to separate themselves from the African people was to make sure that they were never large. Anti-fat bias is a very interesting intersection between racism, classism, and sexism, and ableism.
Wow. We need to have a whole episode on that.
Oh.
But I wanted to talk about resolutions because I personally don't wait till New Year's to make resolutions, nor do I feel inclined that at New Year's I am required to make resolutions. So I wanted to get your opinion about resolutions.
Well, I think I may not have buried the lead. I very much led with the lead. Why are you making that face?
Well, can you say it again?
Yeah, it's ridiculous because it's a tendency.
Oh, it was just one word. Gotcha.
No, I mean, it's just, okay. The tendency is that it's like, oh, I'm going to be new year, new me thing, which is fine. Technically, every 7 years, you're a new you. But I just don't like this idea of we're going to commit to this thing, but then you're not really going to commit to it. It's just a really great way for companies to, it's capitalism. I don't like capitalism.
I think you have mentioned this before.
No, this is new information that no one has ever heard before.
Well, I almost wonder if there's something else going on. Like it kind of perpetuates maybe disappointment or
No,
shame?
It makes you feel bad about yourself. So then next year you can do the cycle all over again. I have thoughts.
Yeah.
My thoughts are no. I don't do them in general. I don't ever really make resolutions. I think a long time ago, I made a resolution that every day I'm going to try to be a better person today than I was yesterday. And that is my resolution. And, there are days that it's harder. But that's what I try to stick to.
Well, and I wanted this episode to be a little bit more fun, so that's why it's resolutions. They're kind of fun to play with. I'm trying to think. We should probably check out what's the most top 5 resolutions.
Oh.
And I'm sure losing weight is one of them.
Definitely losing weight. Gym membership
really goes up in January, right? Because everybody's like, ate too much over the holidays.
Is no such thing. I mean, you should pay attention to how your body feels. If you feel sick after you've eaten, then maybe, you might have eaten a little too much. But that becomes more of like, okay, that wasn't maybe the best thing for my body, but I had fun for a little bit. Let's maybe try to work on how I can make sure that doesn't happen again in the future.
I love that. All right, so top 5 resolutions as a general rule. Quit smoking.
Hey, that's a great one. I very much support it.
Yeah. Family and friends. Like, spend more time with family and friends. I thought that was kind of interesting. Lose weight. Exercise more.
Okay, look, you can exercise more and not have the goal being lose weight. I just want to be clear with that. Because all the science shows that exercising and movement is one of the best things for you. That, I'm not anti-movement. I like to dance. I like to stretch. I like to use resistance bands. All these things. Find joyful movement, though. Don't do it as a punishment because you ate a dessert. That's just going to make you miserable.
This is one I want to make a resolution for. Get more sleep.
Oh,
I have insomnia, so it's not even in my control to get more sleep.
I think I'm going to talk to my doctor about doing a sleep study. That's my resolution.
I might need to do that too.
And be like, can I do a sleep study and just make sure that I'm actually sleeping properly? There's nothing else going on.
So have you ever made a resolution and broke it?
All the time.
And how does that make you feel?
You get that shame. It is a shame spiral or cycle or...
Yeah, I think that's something that I want to throw out there is if you feel inspired to make a resolution, just think about how you make it realistic and not something that's going to cause you shame. Like maybe you put 3 pieces to it and you say, if I do this piece, I'm a success. If I do this piece, I'm also a success. And if I do this 3rd piece, then I am a super success. I don't know. But something that could make you feel good about yourself, not worse about yourself. And
have you heard of the SMART goal model?
Yes. We use it at work.
Yes, I know. It tends to be a work thing. But I do think there's a lot of things there that are useful. And if you are somebody who's wanting to make a resolution, then I might recommend, maybe I'll try to find something that I can link to give you a general overview. I don't want to spend a lot of time trying to explain the SMART model, but I think it's something that you can consider if you want to sit down, take a little time to really think through what is it that I'm trying to get out of this. For me personally, as I mentioned, with the whole movement thing, if you really have certain things that you're like, I have this idea in my mind that I would really like to be able to run a marathon, then you need to work on running a marathon. Whether or not you lose weight should be irrelevant.
And I think you're hitting on an important part is being really clear of what you're after. Because if you're after losing weight, then maybe running the marathon isn't the way to get there. Maybe the way to get there is to start with understanding how you relate with food even.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's a place to start.
I will once again plug the Maintenance Phase podcast for this. They have so many good things out there about just trying to deconstruct a lot of the diet culture that we've been fed. And again, just rethinking things and trying to focus on yourself. I'm fat. I don't owe anyone health. I don't owe anyone the illusion of trying to look like I am a good fatty. I owe myself to take care of me. And that is my business. It's my doctor's business. And that's it. So I want to remind you, there are resources out there if they're dealing with this particular thing. I know this is a super triggering time of year for people who have dealt with eating disorders, disordered eating in general. So I just really want to encourage you to reach out to those resources. I'll put some additional resources in the description. There's audiobooks available. The podcast is free. Those sorts of things are available. You have support. You have people who are on your side.
The other thing I want to say is if you don't feel like making a resolution, don't. But, so I would recommend maybe throughout the year, rather than putting all of that pressure at the beginning of the year, maybe you've got a lot else going on, to maybe think about different times of the year. May is a particularly difficult month for me, and I usually take a lot of time in May to take stock of where I'm at in my life and to think about it, because that month is a difficult month and it's a really good month for me to set some time aside. By doing that, then I make some space for me to rest and reflect and meditate and do some peaceful walks and just go be in nature, those kinds of things. So maybe for you, there's another time in your year that makes sense to do that. I also like to do that around my birthday. Sometimes I do it on a summer trip. If I have time for a special summer trip, I do it. So finding different times throughout the year to make the resolution, and maybe even right now in this moment as you're watching this, you're like, I don't want to wait till New Year's. I'm gonna, although at this point you'll be seeing this video on New Year's Eve. I don't want to wait. I'm ready to make the commitment. Then just be kind to yourself. Think about how you would do it for a 5-year-old. Like, think about that. Use that as a baseline of saying, okay, if I had this goal and I was explaining it to a 5-year-old, what pieces of the goal would I need to explain? That's a thought I have. And I want to make a resolution right here, right now. It's not New Year's Eve. To laugh more. I told you in our last video that I was trying to get out and get into the sun during lunch. That was more of not necessarily a resolution. It was just something that mattered to me. And so I also want to suggest that there's like micro resolutions, if you will. And those are good things too. And they don't have to wait for a specific day. When you see something in your life you want to change, figure it out and change it.
Take a look at yourself and make a change. Okay, sorry.
You want to do a dance here? You said you like to dance.
I'm starting with the man in the mirror.
Or woman, or
non-binary person in the mirror.
The folks in the mirror. There's a lot of them.
There should only be one.
Well, I just see one on the outside, but on the inside, no. I don't. I'm just kidding.
You're like pearl inside pearls, pearl inside pearl.
Yes. Oh, I love that reference, and I hope our audience gets it. Especially because it was Pearl, and yes, we've had that whole conversation. I'm a lot like Pearl.
Yes.
Like it or not.
I'm wearing purple. I'm like Amethyst more than you're like Pearl, and so it's just funny. Because I think generally speaking, I'm like, if I was going to pick a character that I'm most like, I'd probably get Amethyst vibes like real quick.
Well, I think it's so funny because you're closer to Amethyst, I'm closer to Pearl, and we all just adore Garnet.
Yeah.
There's just no way around it.
Yeah.
Too amazing. Love all those characters. And maybe we can have some resolutions to rewatch some of our favorite shows.
Yeah, like Fruits Basket and
Steven Universe. We just recently did a trip and we were listening to some of the playlists, and it just brings it back when we listen to the playlist, and it's just fun. And so I really do
music, honestly.
It really is. And so I really just want to encourage you to do fun things as well. If you're working on a difficult goal, to make sure that you give yourself rests. Maybe you work on it for 4 weeks, take a break, depending on what it is that you're working on. Or, maybe you work on it for a month and you just take a day, because maybe a week is too long. Do those kinds of things. But when you think about resolutions, I really want to caution people not to put shame in the picture. It's not necessary. You don't deserve to be ashamed of who you are. You can love yourself and know that you don't want to stay where you're at, but that doesn't require, the change does not require a resolution, if you will.
Well, and even if you're going from a point of you've done resolutions in the past that you haven't kept, and you are like, oh, I don't want to do this just because I haven't kept them. And there is that shame there of like you feel guilty and ashamed that you feel like you failed yourself in some way. We all fail in some way. And I think there's an important space in your life where you should make friends with failure and realize that it's just part of growing. It means that you tried something, you can try again. And I'm trying not to be too cliche with my, hey, I want to encourage you to work through the failures. But I do believe some of those things. Of like, it is important to keep going.
One of my favorite quotes is from Robin Wright, who said there's something on the other side of failure. And
Princess Buttercup said that?
Princess Buttercup said that. And she's amazing. I just really respect her so much. Just be kind to you. And I also want to say, if somebody's trying to impose a resolution on you, you have a right to push back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think about especially with the anti-fat bias that we have in our culture, trying to force people to commit to lose weight is not helpful to anybody. It's very hurtful. And if you're being hurt like that, you have a right to step away from that person, to tell them no, and you don't have to commit to what other people think you should commit to. You need to figure out who you are and what you want, and hopefully those are healthy, happy things, and do that.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, I don't know that I have a ton more to add other than I hope that you have people in your lives that are not, if you do have someone in your life who's maybe being discouraging and impressing these resolutions on you, that hopefully you also have the opposite. You have people who are supporting you and what you want going forward, and they want to see the best in you. You need cheerleaders. We're happy to be those for you, even though, I mean, I actually was a cheerleader once.
Give me a G. Give me an O. Go. I don't know.
That was
I'm not
terrible.
I am not a
I love you.
cheerleader in
I'm
that
kidding.
way. But I
rooting
am
for
an
you.
advocate for you in the sense of, I want to tell you, you personally deserve to get to choose health in your life. And
it's okay if you have a chronic condition and health isn't a thing that's going to be possible for you.
right.
I hope that whatever it is that is possible for you
Mm-hmm.
is something that you're able to achieve. Things that make you feel happy. If, again, all we have is this one life, we deserve to find happiness in these times.
And we're not saying if your one thing is to hurt people, then that's...
Okay, no, come on. It's that whole idea of, like, you don't get to just punch somebody.
Yeah, no punching other people. But if you are angry, you have a right to work through that anger. So
go to therapy.
because there's a
go to therapy. Go to therapy.
Go see Inside Out. There's a reason for anger. There's a reason for sadness. These things are important to understand, if we can be emotionally
Also go to
intelligent.
therapy. Okay.
Yes, go to therapy. But be emotionally intelligent. And therapy can help you to do that if you don't know what that means or what that would look like. Because the fact is there's a lot of people that have perpetuated poor upbringing, and then they pass on poor upbringing to their kids, and their kids pass up poor upbringing to their kids. You can break that cycle if you've had that experience where folks around you aren't supportive. Then we're going to support you, and we're going to also encourage you to find people that are, and we just hope that you're drawn to people that are supportive and can help you find your direction and build your strength and your own.
And again,
I just can't finish that sentence. I don't know what to do with it.
I don't know.
Find your strength.
Yes. I don't know.
Oh, and your own resiliency. I love it.
Well, I was going to talk about specifically, I mentioned in the last video and want to say again that I had recently done a resiliency and compassion fatigue class that kind of talked about the reality of what you deal with on a day-to-day. And if you feel that you are feeling some of that burnout, some of that compassion fatigue, I just want to encourage you. Part of why I'm such an advocate for therapy is that it can help build those coping strategies and things. I want to encourage you to just take some time for yourself. I'm not a person who loves the term self-care. I definitely prefer Casey Davies' idea of struggle care, because it's so true that it's like, it's not that easy, where sometimes you struggle just to care for yourself. And I hope that you were finding those times and taking the downtime that you need. Sometimes you just need downtime, and it's okay to have that. I want to encourage you to look at things that maybe are causing you stress. In this class that I did recently, the number one thing that people wrote down was causing them stress was actually their personal life outside of work. And we were in a work setting where you definitely would assume that most people are thinking about the work stuff. But sometimes you put so much time and energy into work that you kind of forget to take care of your personal life. Mm-hmm. And it is a compounding effect. Mm-hmm. So I hope that if you don't have the resources right now to be making resolutions or thinking positively about the future or something of that nature, you're feeling that burnout, that fatigue, please just reach out to the people who love you. I know it's hard sometimes to ask for help. And again, therapy is a great tool, a great resource.
You know, and sometimes you might need to ask for help, but other times you might just be lonely and you might just need companionship. And it's okay to say, hey, I'm a little lonely. Could we hang out? You know?
Actually, one of the number one thing that we talked about as something to help you with your resiliency is having meaningful connections with other people.
Yeah. And that's not always easy to build. It's a busy world. There's a lot of demands put on every person. It's not like the demands that are put on you are the only demands put on anybody. And so you might have to schedule it, and that's not always easy. But I have friends that I schedule that I see them once a month, and having that regular schedule means that I know I'm going to have companionship on those days, and it works for both of us, and we both dedicate the time. And also, if you have that friend that doesn't want to reciprocate or make that time, maybe it's time for a new friend. It's okay too. And that's always hard to say sometimes.
I mean, maybe friendship breakups are difficult, so maybe we should have a video about that sometime.
Oh yeah, we should. Because we've both had a couple of those. That's not easy.
Yeah,
people that you really adore, but they don't make time for you. Sad day.
Yeah. So the other thing I kind of want to touch on, we watched this new movie this year. It's a Netflix Christmas movie, Best Christmas Ever. Had a lot of cheesiness, a lot of silliness that I didn't care for, but there was an overall very good foundation. And like, it really did talk about making the best of the relationships and reaching out to those people and making other people a priority and being grateful for the people who are in your lives. So maybe that's what we should focus on in general. If you don't want to think of a resolution, I got one for you. Let's all just take some more time to be grateful for the people in our lives this year and try to find time for them and make space for that so that we can build those meaningful connections.
But you don't have to take that resolution if you don't want to. Just say it.
It was just an invitation.
There you go. But I highly recommend it as well. I did want to kind of keep this. It is the holiday season. We're all busy, and y'all are busy. And so we won't drag this out, but we love spending time with you, and we just always hope for your best, truest, highest, best self that you can be. And if you're feeling a bit lonely, we hope that you have companionship. We also hope that you have all the support and strength you need for every day.
Thank you again for watching. And if you like the video, please like the video, subscribe. We're, again, always rooting for you. So, thank you.